All right, now that we got our metal good to go, we got our coatings feathered back. Now it's time to do a little bit of body filler over the repair area. So I wasn't able to do a hammer and dolly on the backside, so I just did the best I could. I left it a tad bit low, but I'd rather do a low spot than a high spot. The high spots are a pain in the butt to deal with. Once you get ready to start sanding, you'll find your high spots real quick. So I felt over it, felt pretty good. It's just a tad bit wavy, but a coat of body filler should fix it. So now we're gonna clean it with a wax and grease remover just to make sure we don't have any contaminants on it. You just do a wet wipe and then come back with a dry wipe, and you repeat until your rags are clean. Wipe, wet, and then dry. Flip my rag over, wet, and dry. So my rag is clean, so I know my surface is clean. All right, now that our surface is clean, we are ready to do our body filler. So rule of thumb, about for every golf ball size filler, you do a 1-inch ribbon. That's roughly about that. So the darker the color, the faster it's going to cure. It's hot in Georgia right now, so I mixed it a little light. We'll see when I get it mixed, but it shouldn't take very long to cure with it being 90 degrees out here right now. So we mix it, make sure it's all one uniform color. You don't want streaks of red or gray, because those areas will either not cure or cure too fast. So it's a light pink, so it should give me some work time. Typically you want a few minutes to work this before it starts getting real sticky. So based on this color, I would say I got maybe about 3 minutes, 3-4 minutes before it starts getting unusable. All right, we're gonna make sure our squeegee is straight. And I want to fill in where I know that's low, right here. So I'm kind of letting the squeegee do the work. I'm just gently filling and then bringing it back across. So I don't want to cake it on, because then that's more work. Just want it to be a uniform application. So the more time that I spend making sure it's smooth, the less time I spend dealing with it, sanding it. So because this door has a slight curvature, I'm going to take my squeegee and I'm going to give it just a little bit of a curvature. Get that excess off. All this that's on the paint will get sanded off. That much there. think that's pretty good. It's starting to get a little tacky. As you can see, it didn't give me very much work time. It's still usable if I need to, but I'm quickly running out of time. Just a little bit of a low spot there. And I think we'll give that a go. All right, so now that our body filler is dry, I'm gonna use hand sanding with my block sander and some 80 grit. So I typically use just a roll of 80 grit on a block sander. And so what we're gonna do is gonna do 45-degree angles. So we're gonna sand 45 this way and then come back 45 this way to give it a cross etch pattern. And that'll make sure you find all your highs and lows and any other issues. If you just go up and down, typically you'll see highs and lows, and it may not be as flat, but when you go at a 45-degree angle, it gets all your highs and lows, and it gives you a better product. Now, as you can see, the body filler is rolling. It's not quite cured, but it's cured enough that I can kind of knock it down without really gouging it too much. I'm gonna end up doing one more thin coat, so it's okay if it has some deep scratches. So I'm also not pushing very hard. I'm just kind of letting the block and the sandpaper do the work. You see it's kind of gumming up my paper. Let me turn it this way. So I'm probably gonna let it dry just a little bit more before I start really going at it hard, but I can already see a high spot here, and so far it's the only one I can see, but it's pretty flat. This is a little low, but it should block out, and then when I do the next coat, I'll get the rest. All right, now that we got our body filler sanded, it's time to put just a real thin coat of glaze. I like the 3M Platinum Finishing Glaze. Lays down really nice. So the purpose of glaze is to fill in any pinholes from the body filler, any little dents, scratches, anything that was left behind. Usually it's the last coat before a primer. So currently right now, everything is prepped to 180 grit. So when I put this glaze coat on, I will start with 180 and then finish with 320. And then once you get to 320, it's ready for primer. So I'm gonna use a little bit bigger spreader because I want to get a little bit bigger area, and I'll get it on. So the same principle applies to the glaze. about a 1-inch ribbon for every golf ball size. It's a little hot, so I don't expect to get very much work time with this. And the same principle, you want to mix it to where it's a uniform color. It is really runny, so be prepared for that. You don't get very long. Like, it'll be nice and runny, and then it just starts to cure real quick. So nice and thin, just a thin coat. And that's it. We wait for it to cure and we'll start sanding. All right, so now that we got our glaze sanded and masked off, and then hit it with a tack rag. So with the paper, I taped here and then folded it over so it has like a little lip. Because the last thing you want is a hard edge when you do your primer, because you'll always see that. No matter if you sand it and you paint over it, you'll still see the square. And when I get ready to prime, I'm just gonna prime with the gun spraying down this way and stop, so the little bit of overspray just gently goes under there. And the same thing here. Once I get down here, I'm gonna turn the gun up so the overspray hits it and just gently goes down in there. All this has been prepped with 320 grit and is ready for primer.